And the Labour Party are in turmoil this morning as Sir Keir Starmer is forced to drop a second parliamentary candidate due to alleged anti-Semitic comments.
Graham Jones used an expletive to refer to Israel and said British people who fight in their defence forces should be locked up.
Well, he was due to stand for Labour in his former seat of Hyndburn at the general election later this year. Well, let's bring in our political correspondent, Olivia Utley, who is live for us in Westminster. Very good morning to you, Olivia. Potentially not a very good morning for Sir Keir Starmer, who is facing a deepening crisis here.
Oh, good morning, Ellie. No, this is very awkward indeed for Keir Starmer. On Monday, he had to withdraw Labour's support for the Rochdale candidate, Azir Ali, and now he is withdrawing support for another candidate, Graham Jones. Graham Jones was an MP, a Labour MP, up until 2019, where he lost his seat of Hyndburn, and he is due to stand there again. Now, Labour, he is still technically the candidate for Labour in the same way that Azir Ali will be the candidate for Labour for Rochdale on the 29th of February, but there is an investigation going on, and at the moment, even if Graham Jones wins that seat, then he will not have the Labour whip when he's sitting in Parliament. This is obviously really, really tricky for Keir Starmer, because the one big promise that he made when he became leader, the first promise, the first thing which he said he was going to do, was to clean up Labour after the troubled reign of Jeremy Corbyn, and he has said over and over again that he has stamped out anti-Semitism from within the party. Can he be trusted on that when not one but two parliamentary candidates have been suspended over their comments on Israel? There are also a number of shadow ministers and other backbench Labour MPs and parliamentary candidates who've also made contentious comments about Israel in the past few months and years. Will they come under investigation too? It does feel as though this might just be the tip of the iceberg. As well as that, you've got the issue of who was there when these alleged anti-Semitic comments were made. Azir Ali and Graham Jones both spoke at a Labour private meeting back in October, and it's thought that a number of other Labour MPs and possibly shadow frontbenchers as well were there. If it was discovered that they were indeed present and that they didn't speak up, is that a matter for disciplining as well? Keir Starmer will have to make that decision. And of course, he'll have to make that decision very quickly indeed, because the problem on Monday was that he waited too long. On Sunday night, late last week, he was still defending Azir Ali, and he was sending out shadow ministers to defend him on the broadcast round. When he eventually withdrew support, many felt it was too little, too late. So this time, he'll be very, very wary, and it's possible that any Labour MPs, parliamentary candidates, could be out on their ear sooner rather than later if it's found that they have made any controversial remarks about Israel which could be seen as anti-Semitic.
Yes, but what if they're not anti-Semitic? What if they're just a controversial remark? Does this mean that there can be no criticism of the Israeli state or the Israeli armed forces from now on without you being dubbed anti-Semitic? And all this talk about he allegedly said this, he allegedly said that. He did say it. It's on tape. What are we beating about the bush for all of this for? So my worry, my concern is, sitting here as a journalist, if I'm to make some criticism or some question that's deemed to be critical of the Israeli state, am I going to be deemed to be anti-Semitic as a result?
Well, I think that's a really interesting question, and there are plenty of left of the Labour Party MPs saying exactly the same thing at the moment. There are obviously legitimate criticisms to be made of the Israeli regime, and plenty of Jews in Israel are criticising Netanyahu as well. So I think that's the decision which Keir Starmer is going to have to be very, very careful about. He doesn't want to be going off suspending all sorts of people who have made critical comments of the Israeli regime. He has to work out exactly who has said exactly what and whether or not that can actually be classed as anti-Semitic. So Keir Starmer is going to have a real job on his hands in the coming days and weeks.
Olivia, thank you very much. Keep us posted throughout the morning, Olivia, as reaction to this story comes in. Thank you. We'll just outline who is standing in the Rochdale by-election, for those of you on radio particularly. Azir Ali, who's an independent. Mark Coleman, who's also an independent. Simon Danchuk, Reform UK. Ian Donaldson, Liberal Democrat. Paul Ellison, Conservative.
George Galloway, the Workers' Party of Britain, Michael Howarth, Independent, William Howarth, Independent, Guy Otten, Green Party, Ravin Rodent, Subortner, Official Monster Raving Loony Party, and David Tully, Independent.